Well, hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess. This is the Resourceful Homestead edition of our programming for this year. I'm in my pantry and it's time to clean it and organize it. I'm going to show you around a little bit before we get started, just a little bit to show you that we have eaten up quite a bit of food and there's some major changes going on in our pantry. This is the first section of our pantry. We've got a lot of empty boxes back there, and we've got some empty spaces starting to form in here. And I've got some boxes down there that need to be shelved. And even our canned good inventory is starting to be depleted a little bit, although we do have some more in boxes that we need to get in here. So I'm going to walk around. Y'all pardon my angles. I've got rings up here that need to be put somewhere. And even over here, we have removed the 2018 and 2021 jars from this shelf, opening up a little bit of space. I'm starting to use the upper part of the cabinet for pots and pans that won't fit in my outside cabinets, and some of our ice cream buckets, and slowly getting rid of the boxes. But we have used quite a bit of stuff off of our dry goods, and we have started using the green beans that we grew last year. Let me get around this corner because we have more to show you. I've got more boxes down here full of canned goods, but most of our chow chow was able to go into our overflow pantry because of the dates, and we've got empty spots that can be filled. So there's an empty spot. Sorry about the camera angles, y'all. This room is very, very small. And I've got some stuff down there, my potatoes and things like that. Even inside of this locker, we have used a lot of canned meats. And we've got a couple of shelves that can be filled. And then we've got a lot of ground deer down there that needs to be eaten up. Our pickle shelves, I'm going to have to turn the light on. There you go. Our pickle shelves are pretty well stocked, so we probably won't be making any pickles this year. And then these shelves, I've got a lot of spaces. Let me move down. Got a lot of space there for canned goods. So this room is approximately 9 by 10 because there's closets that take up some of the space that would have been in this room. And it's smaller than the other bedroom. And we used the larger bedroom, of course, because we had a guest bed in there. We had all the crafting items, the library, and it became a catch-all. Well, this room has not become a catch-all, but it is completely filled with home canned goods, which gives us a sigh of relief because y'all see the grocery prices in the stores and it's just crazy. And a lot of this was grown ourselves. We do have some canned goods that we purchased from the Amish, and I'm still working on the fermented garlic. So that garlic was fermented last year or the year before. I'm not sure. I don't think I put a date on it. But it's still perfectly good. Actually, that's the only food item that is fermented in here other than the sauerkraut. And the sauerkraut is actually canned. So I've got 1 jar of my tomato soup left. This stuff is really, really good. And then I've got some jars of marinara that I need to put on the shelf. I'm going to do that right now. Oh, got one that's popped the lid. So this one has a little bit of mold floating on the top, and it's time for it to go because we don't want botulism. So we'll get rid of that one. And I've got 1 can of tomato soup base that I'm going to put on the shelf with all my soups. Which I don't have a lot of soup, so I know this year I'm going to be canning some soup. The vinegar's in here that I made. We've got stewed tomatoes. We've got Hoppin' John. We got tomato sauce. We've got salsa. We've got purple whole peas on the top shelf. This is actually an overflow of the chow chow that I couldn't fit on my shelf in the other pantry, but it will be moved as soon as that's used up. Crushed tomatoes, whole tomatoes, Cajun bean soup base, which I can use again, crushed tomatoes, split pea soup that I haven't used up yet. I'm going to move that over here with my soups. Because we definitely want to use that up. There's some more Cajun soup base. This is crushed tomatoes. So I've got 6 jars of the split pea soup mix. I've got 2 jars of vegetable soup. I do have some other jars of soup base that I can actually put on this shelf. I'm going to move my vinegars up if I can and make room. I've got rotel down here. I've got potatoes. I've got beans canned. I've got some more tomatoes, green beans, and then on the bottom shelf, I've got some turnips and ketchup on that very, very bottom shelf over on this pantry. That alone. So we're going to try to fill in this space a little bit and maybe get some of these green beans and tomatoes out of the boxes while I'm standing here. And then we can work on another area in the bedroom that is converted to a pantry. Now we keep the vent in here closed in the wintertime. We have put the silver bubble wrap on that window, and it's also got a blackout curtain, so that gets the morning sun on this side of the house, and that keeps this room dark and cool. I found another tomato soup. And I'm actually going to move these down because I have 8 jars of chili base. So I'm going to move the jars down on this shelf down here to make room. All right, that's done. Always check your lids when you're in here in your pantry to make sure that they're not making a noise. Wipe your jars down as needed. These have been in a box, so they don't really need to be wiped down, and I've already wiped down some of these jars already. On the top of this, I had my Big Bertha water bath canner, and I have moved that to the spare room, the overflow pantry, because I'm trying to get all of my canning pots in one room eventually. I'm having a hard time with that because I have a lot of them. But we have all our teas up here. I actually have more teas on the other side. So what I'm going to do is just bring this forward. And I do have a box of wheat bran that I hope to be able to start making bread with this year. I've got a lot of wheat and other seeds that I can turn into flour, and I'm hoping to start making sour bread this year. I actually have quite a bit of herbs and teas. So stacking is going to be important at this point. So I'm going to stack as much as I possibly can on the things that are stackable. And that'll make more room for all of my vegetables. I've also got a lot of dried herbs that can be made into teas and tinctures. It looks like I've got all my teas together. How about that? All the herbs and stuff that I can use for natural home remedies. So now I can start working on the shelves that hold the canned goods. And we're going to get to that on the other side. But I've got green beans on this side too that I'm going to have to get on the shelf. So let me get this organized and then we'll work from there. You can see I have moved a lot of stuff. And I've got a lot of this hominy we bought from the Amish. And I'm going to get that on that side of the shelf. And I've got some mixed vegetables. I missed a can of my green tomatoes going into the other pantry. I'm going to set that up here so it's easier to find. And sweet peas that are mush, I'm going to feed that to my chickens. All right, I'm going to get over here to the box. It's back breaking. I'm going to set this one in there. And that is 12 quarts of green beans in this shelf so far. One more case of green beans. Some navy beans. I like to see my pantry shelves like this. I'm going to continue to work on this area a little bit and make room for new canning projects that are coming soon. Still have empty spaces, but I've got all my tomato products and my soups together. Potatoes and so forth there. Worked on this shelf today. Turn around. Dry goods and all of my apothecary stuff there. Got that shelf filled. This shelf is partially filled. And then I need to work on the bottom shelf. That shelf is still pretty full. I've got a little bit of space on that shelf. A little bit of space on that one. And that one. And then my green beans and overflow dry goods are right there. Filled in all of these beans, chili mix in a jar. I've got 2 jars left of my hamburger helper. I've got some more beans there. A little bit of space there that needs to be cleaned, by the way. And I've got to get to the rest of it. I've got a couple of holes here and there on that shelf. And I need to get in here to the canning pantry. This is the store-bought stuff. I got some spaces I can fill in. I've got an overflow of some of my herbs, which are in this closet. So I need to go through this closet and organize it a little better. Last year we had a water leak in our wall. It leaked into this room. My husband left a gaping hole in the wall for a couple of months to dry it out before he repaired it. In the meantime, we had chicken snakes or rat snakes, whichever one you want to call them. They're black. Come into the house, into this room. Thankfully, we have a door sweeper on the bottom of this door to keep drafts out. Kept the snakes in here, but we have a closet over in this corner that we have got to get in here and clean out this winter in case there's any more critters in here that I don't want. They were coming in after field mice. Of course, we live around fields and we get mice. And we also have a state park right across the road from us. So we're working on sealing any areas that mice can come in and snakes because we don't want them. Sticky traps have caught 2 snakes in this room. Very scary. And I'm deathly afraid of snakes. I can handle spiders. I don't like roaches. I don't like field mice, but snakes are my #1 predator that I really don't care for. So we're working on this room. We probably got 2 to 3 years worth of food in here already. We really don't need to stock a whole lot of things, but I do want to can up some dry beans. I've already pulled them, got them ready to be canned in my kitchen area. So one day when I have free time, I'm going to be in there canning. And I really don't need to go to the store for much. We've got pretty much everything we need right here in this pantry room. The only thing we're picking up here lately is we'll pick up some canned goods from the Amish when we need it. We don't really buy a lot, so we don't need a lot. We do need to buy meat, and we have an organic meat producer in our area, so we're using him. His prices are fairly competitive and a little bit cheaper than what you would buy in the grocery stores. So it's a win-win for us. We can get some good quality meat that's organic, and we know how it's processed, how it's grown, the whole story, because I asked questions. So if you're ever in the market for meat and you can't produce your own, make sure you ask the questions. How is your meat raised? My nose is running, y'all. I've been in this room with all the dust. Next question you would ask, is it certified organic? You want to make sure that it is certifiably organic, that they're not giving them hormones or antibiotics while they're being raised. And thirdly, is this a sustainable business for you? So if it's sustainable and you know exactly how many like cows that they butcher per month or how many pigs they butcher per month, then you have a good idea that you've got a good quality meat source that you can depend on. We had another one that moved out of our area and we can no longer get it. And of course, we would have to travel to Lexington, which is over an hour from our house. And we have to buy it in a store, so that means we're paying taxes on top of buying it directly from the producer. Now, this producer does have a store in Selmer that they sell out of, so we could go there and pick up meat there and pay tax on it, or we can call him up and have him deliver and not pay tax. So those are the options there. It's looking pretty good in here. I still got a lot of work to do though, y'all. This room will take me probably a week to really go through an inventory and clean every shelf in here and every jar and check for those seals. So, this is the Resourceful Homestead, the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments because I'm willing to answer just about any question that you have. I've been canning for a few years now. I was raised around people that canned. My mother canned jams and jellies, and she froze everything else. My grandmother canned just about everything that came through her kitchen. So I was exposed to it at a very young age. I picked up a lot of tips from them. I do use the guidelines today that are for canning. Some people still can the old methods. I'm not sure that I want to do that, although I have eaten stuff from those kind of canned goods. So, rule number 1, go through your pantry every 3 to 6 months and really do inventory and do a deep clean. Every month, you need to come in here and at least wipe down the jars and the shelves, just basic cleaning. But you want to do a deep clean every 6 months in your pantry. You want to keep the temperature consistent. You want to keep the room dark. Dark keeps the food safe. Sunlight is the enemy. Heat is the enemy. So my vent is closed in here during the winter months, open during the summer months. And try to organize it the best that you possibly can. We converted this bedroom into a pantry, and we have an overflow pantry now, which will hold some more of the canned goods that are in here that need to be eaten up. So that's why we're doing an overflow pantry, so we can move the older food out, move the newer food in, and rotate my food so that it's safe for us to eat. And the oldest product I have is 2018, and it's jelly or jam. And the newest I have, of course, is 2025, and I'm getting ready to kick off my 2026 season of canning very, very shortly. Probably before we get into the garden season, I'm going to be pulling stuff out of the freezer to can and trying to clean my freezers out a little bit and get some stuff on the shelf for long-term storage. So your canned goods can last anywhere from 12 to 18 months using the flats. But I have some in here that have been sealed a lot longer. As long as they're sealed, they're good. And 2025, go to 2018. It's almost 10 years. I'm hoping to have it used up before that 10-year mark comes because I don't want to toss it. But as long as the jars are sealed, they're safe. If you're afraid of botulism, especially the pressure canning kills botulism in the jar because it's pressure canned at a very high temperature. And water bath canning is relatively safe because you're using vinegar or sugar in your products. I have relishes, I have jams and jellies, I have some tomato products that were water bathed. The majority of my tomato products, though, I prefer to pressure can. And that's just my preference. You can do it either way depending on what it is. This room brings me joy because I have touched every jar in here, whether we purchased it from the Amish, like this chow chow relish, or I have processed it myself. It's very gratifying to know that I'm feeding my family, my husband, good quality, organic, safe food. So if you're interested in canning and you want to know more about it, come back and check my channel out. If you haven't already become a channel member, there's 3 levels. You get to choose which level that you want to be at. They start at 99 cents. And you also control how long you are a channel member. It's a monthly renewal, automatic, but you can unsubscribe to that at any time. Google takes care of that. YouTube takes care of that part. And I do appreciate the monetary help for our homestead. Thank you, my friends, for coming along with me for this pantry challenge of getting it organized and making room for some new product to come in. Be blessed and be a blessing. Here's some content I think you might like. Thank you for visiting our homestead. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hype, and share to help our small channel grow. See you next time for more simple living, frugal tips, and farmyard fun.